Revealed, heartwarming journey of a young girl sold for money discovering her CEO first love in, Ava felt like the world had crumbled around her. At just 12 years old, she was faced with an unimaginable truth: her family was struggling so much that to save them, she was being sold to a wealthy entrepreneur. It felt like a scene ripped from a twisted storybook. Tears stung her eyes, but she wouldn't let them fall. She had to be strong, even as the thought of leaving her parents behind weighed heavily on her heart. The distance from the small Midwestern town she'd always known was akin to standing on the edge of a vast, empty abyss. When she first stepped through the massive, polished doors of the mansion, Ava felt like an alien in another galaxy. The walls glistened with gold, and the soft, thick carpet swallowed her sneakers. She couldn't believe this was her new life now. The taste of bitter anxiety mingled with a strange flicker of hope. Inside this sprawling labyrinth of luxury resided Mark, the dashing, confident son of the CEO. With his designer attire and an almost perfect smile, he represented everything Ava despised about privilege. Their first meeting left her feeling annoyed. Who did he think he was, strutting around like he owned the world? Yet, beneath that irritation, a timid spark flickered, a hope that perhaps she might one day reclaim her dignity. And the following days, faces full of laughter and sparkled friendships bloomed around her, thanks to Mark, who seemed bent on dragging her into his shiny world. A friendship blossomed, intertwined with moments of shared dreams and painful truths. The laughter came easily, it was the heart's unrecognized truths that often brought tears. Mark's openness surprised her, making the wealth that surrounded her feel just a little less suffocating. And yet, every moment of joy was bittersweet, weighed down by the guilt of her situation. While she enjoyed this new life, the memories of her family's sacrifices haunted her like a shadow. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. One rain-soaked afternoon, feeling overwhelmed, Ava stumbled upon a local community center. Listening to veterans share their stories, a kaleidoscope of pain, bravery, and resilience turned something inside her. She listened intently, absorbing every word as the depths of their sacrifices poured out like a healing balm. The weight on her heart began to lift, igniting a fire within her. I can't just sit here while my family struggles, she vowed, determination rushing through her veins. As Ava prepared to raise awareness for the struggles she witnessed, she felt the tug of conflicting loyalties. Would her new friends understand her mission? Could she bridge the chasm between her old and new worlds? As the moment of truth loomed, one choice that could redefine everything, her heart raced. With love and sacrifice swirling in a storm around her, she steeled herself for the battle ahead. One thing was clear: nothing would ever be the same again, and neither would she. How far was she willing to go to protect those she loved? The unseen walls of wealth and need loomed large as the stakes reached a breaking point, igniting a glimmer of hope that flickered brightly in an uncertain future. Ava woke up the next morning, the soft light filtering through the ornate curtains of her new bedroom. The mansion felt quieter than usual, and for a moment, the echoes of laughter from the previous night didn't reach her ears. It was just her and the anxious heartbeat in her chest. She quickly dressed, her mind racing with thoughts of the community center and the stories that had ignited a spark in her. Today was the day she would take the first steps towards making a difference, a way to give back, to help her family, and to stand for what was right. She couldn't keep living a life of luxury while her heart was in turmoil for those she had left behind. After breakfast, she slipped an envelope into her pocket. It contained her handwritten notes for a presentation she planned to give at the community center. She was nervous but determined. The doubt tugged at her, but she pushed it aside. You can do this, she whispered to herself. When Ava arrived at the community center, she found it buzzing with activity. Familiar faces of the veterans greeted her with warm smiles. Each supportive nod filled her with a sense of belonging. She spotted a small stage set up in front of a makeshift audience. Her stomach twisted with both excitement and fear. "Good morning, everyone," she called, her voice trembling as she stepped onto the stage. "Thank you for being here today." As her words flowed, Ava shared not only the struggles she had witnessed in her own life but also the power of community. She talked about resilience and hope, how every sacrifice mattered, echoes of the stories she had heard from the veterans that day. When she finished, the applause felt like a comforting blanket around her. But it was not just the applause that filled her with emotion, it was the understanding reflected in the eyes of the audience, the knowledge that they had connected deeply. After her speech, people crowded around her, eager to share their stories and ideas. Among them was Mrs. Thompson, a seasoned volunteer with a passion for helping kids in need. "You have a voice, Ava," she said, her eyes gleaming. "Together, we can make a change." Ava felt a swell of hope. Maybe she wasn't just a girl caught in a tangled web of circumstances. Maybe she was meant for more. As the days passed, her friendships blossomed further, especially with Mark. He was always there, attending the gatherings and pushing her to step outside her comfort zone. His easy laughter would disarm her worries, making her momentarily forget the heaviness in her heart, but with each moment of joy came a deeper realization about her family back home. A sense of urgency clawed at her heart. How long could she keep juggling these two worlds? One evening, as she and Mark sat on a porch surrounded by twinkling fairy lights, she shared her thoughts. "I can't stay here without doing something for them. They need me," she confessed, her voice choking slightly. Mark looked at her with intensity. "Then let us do something together." "You're not alone in this," he said, determination setting in his blue eyes. But just as Ava felt the swell of hope once again, an unexpected text pinged on her phone. It was from her mother, a simple message that shattered her newfound resolve into pieces. "Ava, we need to talk. It's urgent." Her heart raced as she slipped away from the porch, fear gripping her gut. What could it mean? What had changed back home? With newfound urgency, Ava was left with hard questions that echoed in her mind. Could she risk everything she had gained for her family? And what awaited her on the other side of that message? Ava took a breath, knowing one thing for sure, she had to find out. Ava stood under the dim porch light, her heart pounding as she stared at her phone. The message from her mother weighed heavily on her soul, its simplicity stark against the backdrop of everything unfolding around her. "It's urgent." What could urgent mean? Tucking the phone back into her pocket, she stepped off the porch and into the night, the cool air brushing against her skin. She needed to think. Each step felt like a battle with her emotions. Fear clashed with hope, love for her family tangled with the new life she had barely begun to build here. She made her way to a small park nearby, the moon casting silvery beams across the grass. Sitting on a bench, she took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. Memories of home rushed over her. The worn-out sofa, the scent of her mother's cooking, the endless responsibilities. Every corner held a fragment of her past, a past she wanted to help but felt so different from now. Holding her head in her hands, doubts crept in. What if home is worse than I remember? What if it's too late? But then the faces of the community center veterans flooded her mind, their strength, their stories of survival. She had a chance to make a change here, but could she simply walk away from that responsibility? As she wrestled with her thoughts, Mark's words echoed in her mind. "You're not alone in this." But was she really? Was his support enough to combat the weight of her family's needs? "Ava." A voice called out, pulling her from her reverie. It was Mark. His silhouette approached, emerging from the shadows, worry etched on his face. "I saw you leave. Is everything okay?" His concern eased a bit of her tension. "I got a message from my mom. She said it's urgent. I don't know what to do." Mark sat beside her, the warmth of his presence bringing a sense of comfort. "What do you think is going on? You look like you've seen a ghost." "I don't know." It could be about my brother's health or the bills back home. Everything just feels so overwhelming. Ava hated the quiver in her voice. She had prided herself on her newfound strength but now felt like she was crumbling under pressure. Mark reached for her hand, his grip solid and reassuring. No matter what it is, we can figure it out together. Just tell me what you need. His words wrapped around her like a lifeline. She let out a shaky breath, feeling the knot in her stomach loosen just a bit. I need to go home, Mark. I need to make sure they are okay. But I also can't abandon what I've built here, what I could build with you. Mark squeezed her hand. Ava, your family needs you. If that's where your heart is, then that's where you should go. But don't forget the impact you've made here. You can still help from afar. It's okay to divide your focus. His voice carried a clarity that resonated in her. You're right. But frustration bubbled inside her as a new wave of conflict surfaced. I just wish everything could be easier. The silence grew heavy as they both took in the enormity of her decision. The stars twinkled above them, indifferent to the turmoil below, yet offering a glimmer of hope amid uncertainty. I'll support whatever you choose, Mark said softly, a promise in his eyes. But I think you owe it to yourself to find out what's really going on. Ava nodded, determination hardening inside her. You're right. I'll call my mom in the morning and find out. As she stood up to leave, a mixture of dread and resolve filled her being. She felt the gravity of the moment, the weight of her choice pressing down. And then, just as they began to walk back, her phone buzzed again. Ava hesitated, her heart racing as she pulled it out. Another message from her mother that seemed foreboding, more urgent than the last. Ava, it's about your brother. A chill ran down her spine. What could possibly be happening now? Time felt frozen in that moment, the future uncertain. How would this revelation change everything she had just decided? Ava looked at Mark, fear reflecting in her eyes. Would she have to risk losing everything she cherished to save the people she loved? Ava stood frozen, the glow from her phone illuminating her face, reflecting the turmoil within her. It's about your brother. The words jumped off the screen, echoing in her mind like a silent alarm, amplifying her anxiety. What could be wrong? Was he hurt? Mark peered over her shoulder, sensing her distress. What does it say? He asked gently, though he probably already knew. It's about my brother. I can't just ignore this, she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her chest. Then let us not waste time, he said swiftly, the urgency lacing his tone. What do you need me to do? Ava looked at him, surprised at the unwavering steadiness in his expression. How was he so calm when her entire world felt like it was crumbling? I need to call her, I think. I need to hear her voice, to know what is going on, she replied, her voice trembling. Mark nodded and took a step back, giving her the space she needed. I'll be right here. Just take a deep breath. With a shaky exhale, Ava tried to collect herself. She dialed her mother's number, each ring echoing in her ears, matching the rapid pulse of her heartbeat. Would her mother answer? Would she sound scared? Come on, Mom, pick up, she urged softly. After what felt like an eternity, her mother finally answered, relief washing over Ava as she recognized the familiar warmth in her voice. Ava. Thank God you called. I was just about to text you again. Mom. What's wrong with Adam? Ava asked, cutting straight to the chase, her anxiety spilling into her voice. Her mother hesitated, and Ava's heart raced. It's not as bad as it seems, but he collapsed at school today. The doctors think it might be serious. We're waiting for test results. Ava's breath caught in her throat. Collapsed? Why didn't you call me sooner? Is he in the hospital? Yes, they've admitted him. But sweetie, I didn't want to worry you. I worry me. Mom, I'm worried now. She clenched her fists until her palms stung, fighting the urge to scream. "Ava," her mother said softly, "he is stable. They're running tests. We just need to wait for answers." Stable? How stable? Each word felt heavier than the last. Was it too much to ask for peace in her family? "Mom, I need to come home. I need to see him." Her mother sighed, a pause that stretched painfully long. "If you come home, I need you to stay focused. Your brother will need your strength. And you've built a life there. I don't want you to sacrifice it all." "I can't just sit here," Ava replied, tears welling. "I can't abandon him. I want to." "Ava, please. Just come home. We'll face this together." But what did that mean for her life? What would it mean for her and Mark? Questions spiraled in her mind, mixing fear with frustration, clouding her ability to think. Okay. I'll figure it out," she replied, secretly unsure but unable to voice it. After hanging up, she found Mark's concerned gaze waiting for her. What did she say? Ava took a deep breath, the reality crashing down around her like waves against a cliff. Adam's collapsed at school and they think it might be serious. His expression shifted from concern to determination. "Then we don't have a moment to lose. Let us figure out your trip." The urgency in his voice fueled her own resolve, but confusion still churned within. "Mark, but what about us? I can't help but think your family comes first right now." He stepped closer, his hand finding hers. "Whatever happens between us can wait. You need to take care of Adam. And when you're ready, I'll be here." For the first time since the phone call, Ava felt a flicker of gratitude. "Thank you for understanding." "I'll always understand," he replied, giving her a reassuring squeeze. But as the night drew closer, a gnawing thought lingered in the back of her mind. What if her brother's condition wasn't just a crisis? What if it held truths that could change everything, even her future with Mark? And with that sinking realization, she knew this was far from over. Would the truth bring them closer, or tear them apart forever? Ava packed her bag in a daze, her heart racing while her thoughts whirled like autumn leaves caught in a storm. Each item she tossed into her suitcase felt heavier, laced with the uncertainty of the days to come. T-shirts, toiletries, a pair of worn sneakers, each one was a reminder of the life she built, now unraveling thread by thread. Mark stood by the door, arms crossed, his expression a blend of concern and resolve. "Are you sure you have everything?" he asked, his voice steady despite the tension that filled the room. She glanced around, suddenly feeling the weight of everything she was leaving behind. "I don't even know if I'm ready for this," she admitted, the quiver in her voice betraying her bravado. "Ava, you're going home to your brother. That's what matters. You can sort everything else out later." His words wrapped around her like a warm blanket, grounding her in this moment. Ava nodded, grateful for his unwavering support. "You're right. I just wish I knew what to expect." Mark stepped closer, reaching out to touch her shoulder. "Call me as soon as you get there. I'll be waiting to hear all the news." With a tight smile, Ava nodded, though an underlying dread gnawed at her. What would she find when she got home? Would Adam be the same boy she loved? Or would this health scare change him? Before she could lose her resolve, she grabbed her bag and headed for the door. Mark walked her to the car, and the night air bit at her skin. The sky was painted with stars, indifferent to the turmoil swirling in her heart. "Text me when you land," he insisted, brushing a stray hair behind her ear. "Promise," she said, her heart aching at the thought of leaving him behind. As she climbed into the car, she shot him one last look, and their eyes locked for a heartbeat longer, a silent understanding passing between them. The drive to the airport felt surreal. Roads blurred together, flickering in the headlights like forgotten memories. The nagging questions crowded her thoughts. What had caused Adam to collapse? What if something happened to him while she was away? Ava's breath caught in her throat as panic swelled with every mile. She needed answers. Arriving at the airport, she fought her mental fog as she checked in for her flight. The crowd around her bustled, yet she felt like she was moving in slow motion. Excited travelers. Heartfelt farewells. Here she was, trapped in her own whirlwind, heart heavy for her brother who needed her now more than ever. On the plane, she stared out the window, watching the lights of the city shrink beneath her. Each steady rhythm of the engine drummed a comforting beat against the chaos in her mind. She could do this. She had to. Once the plane landed, her heart raced as she stepped into familiar territory. The weight of the last few days settled as she feasted on every detail. The air smelled different here, homey, yet tinged with unease. She hurried to her mother's house, barely catching her breath as she rushed through the front door. Her mother stood there, arms wide open. "Ava!" she exclaimed, enveloping her in a fierce hug. "I'm so glad you're here." Pulling back, Ava searched her mother's eyes, looking for the calmness she had hoped to find. "How is he?" Her mother's face flickered with a mixture of fear and hope. "His test results are back, but we need to talk." The words ignited a wave of dread that gripped her heart as she followed her mother to the living room. Shadows danced on the walls, and the heavy air seemed to pulse with impending truths. "What is going on?" Ava asked, panic rising in her voice. Her mother sat with a heavy sigh, her eyes glistening. "I don't know how to say this, but you need to understand what Adam's illness means for all of us." Ava's breath quickened, her fingers trembling. What could be so serious that it would change everything? "Mom, please. Just tell me." But before her mother could reply, the house phone rang, cutting through the tension like a knife. The two women exchanged a look, both sensing the gravity of that moment. When the call was over, life as Ava knew it would be different forever. And standing on the precipice of uncertainty, she wondered if the answers they were about to discover would bring healing or deeper scars. Would they emerge united, or would the darkness pull them apart? Ava held her breath, her heart racing in anticipation. The phone call lingered in the air, a heavy cloud of uncertainty looming over her and her mother. Finally, her mother set the handset down, her gaze distant. Ava felt a chill seep into her bones. "What did they say?" Ava pressed, her words caught in a throat thick with worry. Her mother looked down, clasping her hands as if expecting the weight of the world to crush her. "It's about Adam's condition. They want to discuss treatment options. It's more serious than we hoped." Ava swallowed hard. "What does that mean? What's wrong with him?" Each word fell like a stone, heavy and deliberate. Her mother's voice trembled. "He has a rare form of leukemia. They caught it early, but it's still serious. He'll need extensive treatment, chemotherapy, maybe more." Ava felt as if the ground had shifted beneath her. Her younger brother, the boy with laughter ringing in every corner of their home, now faced this daunting dark reality. How could this happen? She whispered, searching her mother's eyes for answers, for comfort, for something. "We don't know exactly how. It just does. But we will get through this together, Ava. We have to." Her mother's voice was a mix of fragile hope and unnerving fear. Ava shook her head, frustration bubbling just beneath the surface. "What if it doesn't work? What if he suffers? I can't bear to see him like that." The tears prickled at the edges of her eyes, but she fought them back, not wanting to show her mother her fear. Her mother reached out, squeezing Ava's hand. "We will stay strong for him. We're a family." The resolve in her voice flickered like a flame, wavering but still alive. "We need to talk to Adam. He should know what's happening." Ava nodded mutely, swallowed by the weight of what lay ahead. The thought gnawed at her. How could she even begin to explain it to Adam? The idea of looking into his innocent eyes, filled with confusion and fear, made her ache. They had always depended on each other for strength, but now the roles would flip. Together, they walked down the hallway to Adam's room. Sweet childhood memories drifted around her like soft whispers: the Lego towers, dance parties in the living room, late-night snacks. Would those moments ever return? As they approached, Ava heard her brother mumbling softly. She pushed the door open, revealing Adam lying in bed, a pale young boy with a face that was both fierce and tender. He looked up, and a smile broke through the clouds of worry that shadowed his face. "Ava! You made it!" he exclaimed, lifting himself up, his excitement vibrant despite the hollowness of his cheeks. "Hey, buddy," she said, keeping her tone light, though her heart felt heavy. She sat on the edge of his bed, grasping for the right words. Their mother joined them, taking a seat on the other side. "Adam, sweetheart, we need to talk about something important." The smile faded slightly from his face. "Is everything okay?" Taking a deep breath, Ava glanced at her mother, who nodded slightly. "No, not everything. You need to know about your test results." Adam's expression shifted sharply. The hope in his eyes dimmed, worry creeping in. "What do you mean?" Ava's voice shook. "They found out what is going on. You've got leukemia." His brown eyes widened, not fully processing the gravity. "Leukemia? Is that bad?" Her heart shattered even more as she looked at his innocent face. "Yes, it's serious. But we're going to fight this together. You're not alone in this." He blinked slowly, processing. "Does that mean I'll be sick?" A lump formed in her throat, but she forced a smile. "You might be. But we'll be right there with you, every step of the way." Tears slipped from her mother's eyes, but she quickly wiped them away. "You're going to be stronger than we could ever imagine, Adam. We believe in you." Ava's chest tightened as she reached for Adam's hand, filled with hope and fear battling within her. Would they find the strength they needed? What would this journey demand of them? As they shared that moment, the bond among them felt like an unbreakable tether held together by love and determination. But deep inside, Ava's unanswered questions loomed like shadows, worries about the road ahead, and how they would navigate this twisted journey together. And as they sat in heavy silence, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a long fight, one that would test the limits of their love and strength. How much longer could they keep the darkness at bay? Ava shifted on the edge of Adam's bed, her heart a whirlwind of emotions. She watched as her brother's expression morphed from confusion to something deeper. His innocence was shattering before her eyes. "Is it going to hurt?" he whispered, the words barely escaping his lips. Her gut twisted at the question. "I don't know, Adam." The honesty hung between them, a heavy silence. She wanted to promise him everything would be okay, but those words felt hollow in the face of such an uncertain future. Instead, she leaned in and hugged him tightly. "We're going to be together through all of this. That's what matters." Adam wrapped his small arms around her, clinging like a lifeline, and in that moment, Ava felt the raw power of their bond. It was a reminder that love could fill voids, even when the world threatened to unravel. "Can we still play games?" he asked, the boyish gleam in his eyes flickering with hope. "Yes. We'll play all the games you want. I'll even let you win," she teased, trying to inject some lightness into the room. His smile returned, brighter now, fighting back the shadows that loomed. "Okay." Their mother watched, her pain visible like a crack across the porcelain surface of a cherished vase, ready to shatter at any moment. She reached out to stroke Adam's hair, her touch gentle, holding back her own fears. "What's the first thing you want to do when you're feeling better?" she asked, striving to steer the conversation towards brighter horizons. "I want to go to the amusement park." "The one with the big roller coaster," Adam said, his voice growing stronger as excitement returned. Ava perked up at this, her heart swelling. "Absolutely. I'll take you. We'll eat funnel cakes and ride the roller coasters until we can't anymore." Adam giggled, and for a fleeting moment, they were just kids again, dreaming up adventures that seemed limitless. And yet, lurking just beneath the surface was the knowledge of the fight ahead. Ava felt it in her bones, in the way her mother's hand trembled as she tried to comfort Adam, and in the way Adam's laughter seemed to mask an encroaching storm. That night, after they tucked Adam in and made sure he was nestled under his superhero blanket, Ava and her mother slipped into the living room. It was small and cozy, but it felt colder somehow, as if the air thickened with worry. "I looked up some support groups online," her mom said, her voice shaky but determined. "We can connect with families who've gone through this. It might help." Ava nodded, though her mind was racing. What if they tell us it won't work? Or that he has to be in the hospital for a long time? Her mother sat beside her, a deep frown etched across her features. "Then we need to face that together. We don't know what is going to happen yet, but we can't lose hope. Adam needs us." Ava exhaled sharply. "I'm scared, Mom. I don't know how to be strong for him when I feel so weak." "You're stronger than you realize. You're leaning into your fear right now, and that's brave. It shows how much you love him." Silence settled again, heavy and uncertain. Ava could feel the weight of her mother's words. They were both confronting their fears, but the fear of losing Adam loomed larger than anything. As they sat in that shared space, the flicker of the TV casting shadows in the dim light, Ava understood they had a long road ahead. The unknown stretched out like a wide river. "Do you think we'll be okay?" she asked softly, vulnerability slipping out. Her mother took a deep breath. "We will be, but it's going to take everything we have. We'll fight together." Ava looked beyond her, staring out into the night that offered no answers. Questions danced in her mind. Would they have the strength? Would Adam be okay? And in the silence that stretched out in front of them, as the weight of the world pressed against their shoulders, she couldn't help but wonder, when would the darkness lift, and would they all come out of this together? The uncertainty loomed heavy, but deep down, a flicker of hope ignited a small belief that perhaps love would illuminate the path forward. But then, the phone rang, an unexpected intrusion into their fragile moment. Tentacles of dread curled in her stomach as she glanced at her mother. Would this call bring more bad news? Ava felt her heart quicken. What now? Ava's breath caught in her throat as her mother reached for the phone, a mixture of anxiety and dread swirling in the pit of her stomach. Her mother answered hesitantly, cradling the phone with a trembling hand. "Hello?" Ava leaned closer, straining to hear the words. But they came out soft and fragmented, like whispers carried away by the wind. The silence between her mother's responses grew palpable, each beat stretching longer as uncertainty loomed in the air like storm clouds. "Okay, yes. I understand," her mother finally said, glancing over at Ava with wide eyes, filled with unspoken fears. Ava's mind raced. Was this the call they had dreaded? Her heart pounded in her chest, each thump echoing her rising despair. She couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change. When her mother hung up, she remained still for a moment, staring at the wall ahead, as though she were searching for answers in the cracks of the paint. Ava's heart sank deeper at the sight of her mother's features tightening, the fear taking root. "What did they say?" Ava asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Her mother turned towards her, a flicker of hope battling against the worry in her eyes. "That was the hospital. Adam's doctor wants to see us tomorrow morning. They have a treatment option they want to discuss, but we need to prepare ourselves." "Prepare for what?" Ava questioned, her anxiety bubbling up again like a boiling pot on the verge of spilling over. "What if they don't have good news?" "What if Ava," her mother interrupted gently, "we can't let our fears run wild. This could be something good, something that could help him. We just need to hold on to hope." But even as she said it, Ava could feel her own doubts creeping back in, swirling like a storm inside her. Could they really trust that glimmer of light? Was it worth believing in a future when the present felt so heavy and dark? "Can we stay up for a little longer?" Ava asked, stuffing her feelings down deep, desperate to keep her mother close. "Can we watch a movie together?" Her mother smiled softly, a hint of relief breaking through her worry. "Of course," she replied, her voice steadier. "Let us watch something light. How about that silly cartoon we used to love? With a nod, Ava struggled to mask her fears, trying to focus on the warmth of their shared moment instead. But the laughter and joy from the screen felt distant, as if it was happening in another world where problems didn't exist. As she leaned against her mother on the couch, tears pricked at the corners of her eyes. The weight of it all threatened to spill over, but she fought to keep it together. They needed to be strong for Adam. He needed them to be brave. Through the flickering light of the screen, Ava silently vowed to amplify her hope, no matter how fragile it felt. Tomorrow would bring answers, she told herself. Answers that could lead them into the light or deeper into the darkness. She clung to the idea of fighting together, like a family bound not just by blood but by the love that soared above their fears. But as the credits rolled, a deeper uncertainty nestled in her mind. What if the treatment was far more complicated than they imagined? What if the struggle turned out to be more daunting than it seemed? That night, Ava finally succumbed to sleep, conscious of the next day looming over them. What would the hospital reveal? Those thoughts twisted in her mind like tendrils of mystery, threatening to trap her in anxiety until she drifted off to an uneasy sleep. As she closed her eyes, a singular thought echoed within her: would tomorrow's revelation bring hope or despair? The only thing she knew for certain was that she would have to brace herself for whatever lay ahead. Ava awoke to the sound of her mother's voice, speaking softly on the other side of the door. She squinted at the light filtering through her curtains, feeling as if she had just fallen asleep moments ago. The weight of the day's expectations pressed down on her chest. Today was different, crucial. It was impossible to shake off the growing anxiety. After splashing water on her face and dressing quickly, Ava joined her mother in the kitchen. The smell of coffee filled the air, warm and inviting, but it did little to ease the tension coiling in her stomach. Her mother's back was turned as she prepared breakfast, and for a moment, Ava wanted to freeze time, to stay in this quiet moment before reality hit. "You okay?" her mother asked without turning around, her voice barely concealing its tremor. Ava nodded, though she wasn't sure she felt it. Her stomach twisted again as she took a seat at the table. "What time is the appointment?" "Just an hour," her mother replied, finally turning to meet Ava's gaze. The worry in her eyes mirrored Ava's fears. They were both standing on the precipice of uncertainty. Silence fell, thick and heavy. It felt odd, almost surreal, sitting there with her mom, sharing breakfast as if the world wasn't teetering on the edge. They tried to talk about mundane things, the weather, plans for after school, but each word felt like a flimsy distraction from the storm brewing inside them. Once breakfast was over, they gathered their things, Ava clutching a book for comfort, her mother holding the car keys as if they were a lifeline. The drive to the hospital was a blur of colors and sounds. Each traffic light felt like an eternity, stretching the moments between them into a silent countdown. When they parked, both women climbed out slowly, almost as if the car were dragging them back. The hospital loomed before them, a stark building filled with uncertainty. Ava took a deep breath, attempting to steady herself. Her heart raced, echoing in her ears. As they approached the entrance, her mother squeezed her hand tightly. They entered together, and the sterile scent of antiseptic filled the air, the steady beeping of machines a reminder of the fragility of life. "Are you ready?" her mother asked, her voice steadying for Ava as much as herself. "No," Ava replied honestly. "But we have to be. For Adam." The waiting room was filled with families, some laughing, others wrapped in silence, their faces etched with worry. The clock ticked loudly, and each passing second felt like a question hanging in the air. What would they learn? What choices would they face? Finally, a nurse called out Adam's name, and Ava's heart raced as they stood. They exchanged a look, a mix of fear and determination. "Whatever happens," her mother whispered as they walked down the corridor, "we'll face it together." "Together," Ava echoed, holding the words like a talisman against despair. As they entered the dimly lit examination room, memories flooded back, times when laughter had filled the same space, when Adam's infectious spirit had chased their fears away. But now, it felt hollow. She glanced at her mother, who was holding her breath as they faced the doctor. The doctor walked in, a stern yet compassionate presence. I have some information regarding Adam's treatment, he began, his voice steady. Ava's heart raced. Would this be a lifeline, or would it tear them further apart? She held her breath, waiting for the storm to pass or the sun to break free. The outcome lay just out of reach, swirling in uncertainty like dust in a sunbeam, but what the doctor had to say might change everything. The doctor took a moment, his gaze steady yet filled with empathy. After reviewing Adam's test results, we found that the leukemia seems particularly aggressive. He will need an immediate combination of chemotherapy and possible further treatments. The good news is that we caught it early, and his prognosis is better with swift action. A rush of emotions surged through Ava. Relief crashed with fear. She looked at her mother, whose eyes glistened with both hope and dread. What does that mean for him? Ava asked, the reality hitting her hard. His treatments will be extensive and challenging. We need to prepare ourselves for some tough days ahead, the doctor explained, his voice calm yet firm. But I must emphasize, this is a chance for recovery. With the right support, many children respond positively. Ava felt those words wrap around her heart, a flicker of hope igniting in the depths of despair. How can we help him? She asked earnestly, eager to fight this battle alongside her brother. Your strength will mean everything to him. Encourage Adam to keep his spirits high. Focusing on what he loves and surrounding him with support from you and your family will be essential, the doctor suggested, looking directly at Ava. Be honest with him about what is happening, but keep hope alive. Laughter, joy, and love will be his greatest allies. With every word, the path ahead became clearer. Nodding, Ava resolved to be that light in Adam's life, the person who could show him that strength doesn't just come from within, it is forged through bonds with family and friends. Together they could weather any storm. When they finally exited the hospital, it was as if a weight had lifted slightly from their shoulders. Ava felt a sense of determination gushing through her. She would stand by Adam, would fiercely protect their laughter against the darkness trying to invade their lives. Adam was waiting for them, propped up in bed, wearing the brave mask of a hero. Did the doctor say I'm okay? He asked with eyes both innocent and trying to comprehend. Not yet. He said we need to fight hard, but we will be right here with you every step of the way, Ava assured, squeezing her brother's hand. You're not alone. We are all in this together. His small nod filled her heart with warmth. Ava pulled a chair close to his bedside. What do you want to do now? We could play that new game I brought. She suggested. I want to ride roller coasters, remember? It's gonna be the first thing we do when I feel better. Adam exclaimed, his smile lighting up the room. Ava couldn't help but smile back, her heart swelling with admiration. This boy was brave. Together, they would face every roller coaster life threw their way, and as they spent those moments together, the laughter began to fill the room, a shield against fear. The days ahead would be hard, but Ava found solace in knowing they would face them together, her mother, and Adam standing shoulder to shoulder, bound by love and unbreakable will. In those moments of struggle and joy alike, she couldn't shake the thought of Mark. He had given her the courage to fight, to face her past, and now, he would understand her need to be here, even though it meant their paths might part for a while. She could feel the connection they shared strengthening even through the distance. As she held Adam's hand, she whispered softly to her little brother, we will read all the superhero comics, have movie marathons, and you will be so strong, you'll beat this. A determined fire ignited her spirit, and she knew she would fight for her family, her brother's laughter, and for the love blossoming in her heart even from a distance. Ava sighed, feeling hopeful for the first time. They would embrace today and every uncertain tomorrow. Together, they would find the road through this challenge, emerging stronger than before, and on that path, a bright new chapter awaited them all, just as life should be filled with love, hope, and resilience shining brightly in the face of darkness. You need to subscribe now to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.